Welcome to another episode of the Growth Focus podcast, where we bring together tech leaders from all across the globe to share their insights and expertise to help us grow within the tech industry. My name is Gary Lafferty, your host, the founder and creator of Authority Accelerator, where we take experts within the tech field and accelerate them to becoming authorities so that they can be chosen by their clients as opposed to the ones doing the chasing. On this episode, I am extremely honored and pleased to have a fantastic guest. We're going to be talking about how to be pioneers within the industry, how to set up things that no one else has ever done before, but more importantly, how inbound is just as important as outbound. So we've got an awful lot to get through on this episode. So without further ado, Milind, it's fantastic having you here. Why don't we start off with you explaining and just sharing a little bit about yourself and how you got started?
Sure. Thank you, Gary. It's amazing. I mean, very, very pleased to be here. Very honored as well. Great talking to you on this. So for me, it's like growing up in India and graduating in early 90s, taking advantage of the globalization and liberalization that kicked off. Is what like I was able to go on the wave that was anyways happening, and then there was a lot of action that was happening in those days, and then riding those waves and then choosing your waves right. And then, of course, as you know, the waves go up and down, but you need to ride them well, which I was fortunate to do, and build a couple of companies. Some of them really did well, some didn't, of course, and most of them being global, like India, US, Europe, corridor kind of businesses, and mostly in the area of B2B sales and marketing, technology, and then that kind of stuff. So. Let me know if you want me to kind of dig deeper into some of those aspects.
Sure. I've got a whole ton of questions that I'm going to be asking you and sharing with you today on that. So let's talk about that. You literally started your career during India's economic liberalization. How did that transformative period in India and where you were kind of shape you as an entrepreneur? What lessons did you learn and what opportunities were there for you?
Right. So I graduated out of engineering in 95, and then completed my MBA in 98. And 91 is when we moved to being a global economy. The government decided to open up the economy in 91. The result of it started showing around late 90s or mid 90s. And one of the earliest things that we took advantage of, obviously because of the large population, the cost arbitrage, and there was a huge need for a lot of business process as well as IT processing need that the world had, and the pioneers of IT industry started that in early 90s, and we could ride on that bandwagon sometime around in early 2000. So when I started my first company, a whole lot of stuff was getting done out of India. Broadband had just come in, and you could do a lot of stuff between in a nice, cost-effective way. Say work for a bank in the US or Europe, and then a lot of 80% of it done here. There's an on-site work, and then offshore work, and then there's a nearshore work. So a lot of that was happening in those days, and then today. I mean, what started in early 90s, today it's almost a $200 billion export out of India.
That's amazing.
Employing, I think, almost 2 million people directly. So,
yes.
I was fortunate to be graduating and then learning the right stuff by graduating in electronics and communication. So the right engineering studies and then right MBA. And then took the opportunity. So what we started was a little bit of B2B lead generation or an appointment setting is what we said. Hey, can we run that process out of India in terms of at least the research, etc., and then provide this. So that's how we kind of got started with B2B sales and marketing
Gotcha.
around 2003, 2004 timeframes. And then obviously, with digital marketing coming into the picture from 2007, 8 onwards, the way B2B companies started from generating a lead to kind of the whole lead life cycle, if I may say, the digital tools and digital technology started impacting that a lot more. The marketing started becoming more and more digital. I think by 2015, marketing was mostly digital. So in those 10-year transition, it was great to be part of that transition and then being firsthand seeing those changes that are happening, right? I mean, the first time when I heard of, say, search engine optimization, so okay, like
Mm.
what do you write a blog, and then why do somebody come onto your blog? And then I remember doing a Google Analytics course out of my own interest and say, oh, this looks interesting. So, how do you leverage this search? How do you leverage digital advertising? How do B2B companies can really change the way they created awareness, generated interest for what they do at the right audience, and I think learned a lot with. So we started providing those services to a lot of companies, both in India and then later on in the US. So
Yeah.
we were literally learning the ropes of lead gen, demand generation, digital media, digital marketing, and while providing those services, and then always remaining on top of okay, what's going to come now. That was an
Yeah.
exciting journey. That was a
It's been
superb
a
journey.
fantastic journey for you, and as I said, on one side of the coin, it sounds like being at the right place at the right time and taking advantage of it. But you're also on the other side of the coin, continuous education for yourself to make sure that you are at the forefront and can take advantage of the
Yeah,
opportunities that are there.
right,
And you're the
right.
co-founder. You co-founded, one of India's very first inside sales outsourcing companies, which then
Right.
turned into a SaaS from that. What
Right.
kind of I mean, and today, your company has achieved over $3 million in revenue, predominantly through inbound sales. And the people's going to be
Right.
listening and say, "Wow, just through inbound." What kind of
Yeah.
marketing have you been putting in place to ensure that the phones keep ringing, as it were?
Sure, sure. No, yeah, and it's very funny, Gary, that the business that we ran, the services business that we ran until 2018, co-founded with my co-founder Abhijit, was predominantly an outbound lead gen, appointment setting, demand gen kind of a company, right? We grew that services business 700-800 people. It got acquired in 2018, and in the meanwhile, we had started working on this SaaS product. Now, uh, of course, as anybody else, I started with outbound as my first primary channel for around 6, 8 months, 9 months. I was able to meet people, I was able to meet, but it was not yielding the results that it was supposed to yield. And then, uh, so basically, what happens is the space that we were in, which is key account management or strategic account management, was very nascent as a category in the early days, like 2018, 19, 20 timeframes. Just few tools which are trying to figure thing out, figure this thing out, and therefore all our conversation through the outbound, typical outbound channels were like, hey, this looks good, but I'll buy later, right?
Mm.
So then I realized that we need to somehow figure out those early adopters as far as because the category is new. Nobody knows about this space yet. But there are always those early adopters who are keenly searching for something, wanting to read some things around this. And I said, okay, those should be my first set of prospects or customers, and even those are the people who would help me build the right product.
Mm.
So so then what we started writing a lot about how technology is going to impact key account management, what is strategic account management, and then so obviously we started ranking better than most of the university papers on key account management. And that's when so one thing that we ensured was whoever is searching for key account manager definitely landed on my website. So and these were it helped the fact that these are some of the early adopters and the willing to engage with us, more collaborate, both being as a customer and more importantly also as a someone who is some kind of a customer advisory, helping me build the business and then the product. So yeah, I think even today, almost 60% of the business that we close is still inbound predominantly.
Mm-mm.
We started experimenting with other channels, of course, last year, and then we'll slowly, I think we'll find a balance between the two as we go ahead.
Yeah.
Um,
I was loving what you're just saying there about, you know, making sure you were writing about it, and and for those of us, those people who've been listening, who've been around me for a while, understand that educational based marketing is such a
yeah,
huge component of
right.
growth when it comes to tech, as opposed
True.
to the field of dreams. I build it and they will show up and they will come. You've got to explain to people what they have and how to buy it. And I love
Yeah,
what you said there. You all started ranking from the blogs that you were doing and the articles that you were writing. You started ranking above the university things. And I'm just wondering, with that particular insight, I mean, I know there's people listening who writes the occasional blog, they do that. How consistent do you have to be? I mean, one of the key components of becoming an
yeah,
authority within the industry is publishing.
yeah.
You've got to get your name out. You've got to publish. Let's talk about consistency in publishing.
Oh, yeah. I think uh, um, two things are very important. One, Gary, you touched upon like consistency is extremely important. You're right. Is it weekly? Is it monthly? Probably a one long post monthly, and then a couple of small snippets weekly. But apart from the consistency, the other very important thing is authenticity. As in, we know, okay, the end objective of writing is to get ranking, but that to me is a byproduct. The objective of writing is to make meaning to the reader, right?
Absolutely.
So if the reader makes meaning out of what you're writing, then its byproduct is better ranking, better, etc. Right? But if we write only for the sake of ranking, it won't last long
Mm-hmm.
because the readers would come. You don't get referred. So while we know the end objective is this, but keep in mind who is reading this. Is he a mid-level marketer in your target market, or is this somebody, a student sometimes trying to do research on what you're writing about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a senior sales leader trying to find out something, or is he a technology enthusiastic trying to find out, hey, what is the technology these guys are talking about? And then these are all different personas. And then uh, how do I write something which resonates, which kind of they're interested in reading this, and that I think was the key. And
Mm-hmm.
here, um, again, to be honest, so I did try to use really writers who do this, but they're great. They're nothing, but a founder's insight, somebody who's passionately building something, who believes that today or tomorrow B2B companies should use technology for better management of their key accounts or strategic accounts, right? And why is that? And what am I building? Just expressing that. Yes, a good writer or an editor might edit that, but the feel of that article should come from the founder is or the early key
You're
members.
absolutely right. The
Yeah,
heart and soul has to come from the founder. And
yeah,
yeah, I just want to unpack a few things there, because what you said there was absolute gold. And I just want to make sure that people understand this. First and foremost, you're writing for it to be read. And in order to be read, it has to, like you say, have a persona. So who are you writing to? Write for that one person, not for everybody. Who is the person you want to be reading it? And then write for that person so they can feel the passion and the authority and that the point you're trying to get across come directly to them. So
yeah,
absolutely doing that. And as you say, we all know that we know in the tech world, it doesn't matter if you're running a $5 million company, a $10 million company, or a $15 million company. The majority of them are still founder-led sales because of the passion. But
yeah,
where I see a lot of founders drop the ball is they stop doing founder-led marketing. And when they
Yeah.
stop doing the founder-led marketing and then, as you say, give it to other people, it loses its shine. It loses its absolute passion for doing. So I love the fact that you are still, doing it yourself and pushing information out there, because you know better than everybody why you do what you do, the
Sure.
benefits
Yeah.
of doing it as the
Yeah.
founder.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
very, very
Absolutely.
important that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
being said, so we've got one thing now. The other thing you're doing is helping yourself stand out. Is the other pillar of building authority in a market and standing head and shoulders above your competition is forming partnerships. And
Yeah.
you've been really good at forming partnerships. I mean, you've partnered with major platforms like Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about that and the impact that having good partnerships has on your business, as well as the mistakes people make when trying to form partnerships.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's nature of the business or nature of what you're trying to build also determines a lot in terms of what kind of partnership that you build. But by and large, in today's world, especially in the technology businesses, or actually even any business today, uh, nobody goes solo, right? There is an ecosystem. There are partners who can complement each other with respect to what we're doing. That's the nature of the business today. It's not no longer that secretive businesses of 50s, right, or last century. Most businesses are collaborative in nature in today's world. So therefore, we need to kind of choose where is it that there is a win-win if I partner with somebody. And
Mm,
usually, if you're a very small company, why would a large brand or a large company partner with you unless I give them that why answer very clearly, right? So in our case, uh, uh, in the beginning, so again, some of the insights that you get, right? So I used to go and say, you know what, I'm building a key account management software. So okay, no, I have a CRM, right? And then it took me two, three more lines, provided they gave me those two, three more opportunities to talk about, yes, CRM exists, but this is kind of an add-on to it, etc. So then what I said is, uh, so how do you deal with this kind of an insight? Like when you get this insight, what do you do with this? And I said, I think people are assuming that, so why don't I preempt it? So I said, you know what? I'm building something which complements the CRM that you're using.
mm, mm, mm,
So I preempted that in my first sentence itself, so that I move beyond that. Then I said, okay, how, why, right? So that curiosity kind of got created, and that was the messaging not only when we provided in person, but also through any, like if I'm making a LinkedIn ad or if my website will always talk about, yeah, the product that sits on your CRM. Then we said, okay, if my product has to always sit on a CRM, then is there a way that I build it in partnership with somebody, right?
mm,
So obviously the world's largest CRM is Salesforce, and then we said, okay, let me try that. So, and then they have a partnership program which is listed on there. They have a marketplace, and then so you have to figure out a partner manager there, like, and then convince them that okay, what am I building? How is that going to complement? And then the whole process flows. And
mhm,
uh, so so and then so basically the three parties involved: me, my partner, and obviously the main party here is the customer, right? Now, how will this partnership really help the customer is the key, because both these companies are really worried about that, are concerned about that, right? That's their thing. So again, like really good complementary things that were happening. And then and I think one other thing here is ask. I mean,
mm,
so don't get like, how am I going to, like, they have a partner program, they have partner managers whose job
mm.
is to sign up partners. So these large companies have those functions. Then they reach out to the right people. I think don't. But again, as I said, the three parties have to be kept in mind.
Yeah.
What's in it for your partner, and more importantly, what's in it for the customer, for both of us. And if you
Yes.
see a magic happening there, then I see no reason why we can't sign these things up going
Yeah,
forward.
yeah. I mean, that's really, really good points there that you made. And again, like you said, preempting, and let's go back a little bit, preempting what their objections are is fundamental either in the pitch or a presentation, and you iterate until
Yeah.
you know what they're going to say. Just preempt that in your
Yeah.
conversation first, as opposed to the typical sales people, especially in tech. People don't want to sound salesy, and therefore when it comes to objection handling, they get all a bit fuzzy about it. But if you preempted it and go, look, you may be thinking this, but ours is different.
Yeah.
You might think it's just one of these, but it complements. And I love what you were doing there. But based upon partnerships and that, I mean, how important do you think partnerships are for those who are listening to us here? How important do you think partnerships are for establishing authority within the marketplace, especially a crowded marketplace?
No, I think it's very crucial in today's world. So two, three things happen because of that, right? Say, hey, I'm partnered with this person, and then so some of the trust factors comes pre-built. If I'm going after a company, oh, this guy already partner with Salesforce or partners with Microsoft, right? That automatically brings in the initial trust issues that get cleared out, and also it also solves for privacy issues, data security issues, and then the tech issues, etc. Because and also it gives us a great GTM channel. So for the first 3 years, I think we knew exactly whom we are going after. Okay, all companies in North America and in English-speaking Europe, uh, this revenue to this revenue size companies in these industries who are using Salesforce. Now it becomes much more easier
Yes.
because you will, however large or small company, especially when you're a smaller company, your $100 marketing is always spread thin. Now, the more focused I can spend that $100 on, the better ROI I'll get on those marketing dollars that I'm going to spend on. So I would rather use the partnerships and my channel and then my segmentation uh, so wisely in the beginning. What is it going to take me from 0 to 1? Which is the segment that will take me from 1 to 10? And then what is the segment that's going to take me from 10 to 100? Because that's crucial, because if we try to spread ourselves too thin, try to sell to a lot of people, lot of geographies, lot of industries, uh, you won't get anywhere. I mean, because there is a distance to which your $100 go to. I mean, so how much
Yes.
awareness can it create? How much interest can it create? And it'll die down. I mean, it's like imagine a water streaming and it just dies down, gets up.
Yeah,
So it doesn't
absolutely.
reach. It doesn't reach.
Where are you going to get? It's a common phrase. Everyone's heard about it, but it's some common sense, as we know, is not common practice. You want to have the most bang for your buck. If you're going to spend your buck, what is the most bang you're going to get for it? Because as you say, if you spread too thin and it's just like a shotgun approach to everything, then you're going to have little pellets landing on the everywhere that may, or even if you're seeding, and when you're a gardener, and you just want to throw seeds on the ground. 90% of it is just going to die or get picked up by the bird or whatever. You want to be absolutely precise. And as you said, that's a great analogy of how partnerships can help you, because the dynamic is already there, especially if you're going into SMB or you're going to enterprise, where that channel is. It's amazing. So that being said, Milind, that works fantastically well, and not just for you, but for those listening. I think it's going to be an excellent sort of needle mover if they can start focusing on that. Let's talk about the lessons learned. What marketing strategies have you used in the past which hasn't worked as well, and that you could give some insights on that?
Sure. As I always say that we keep looking at things that have worked, but there are a lot of scars which remain hidden, or they heal over a period of time. But no, plenty of mistakes on the way. Just this the same thing that I talked about, where focusing on that segment and getting that ICP segment is not that easy, right? We need to so is it mid-market? Is it large enterprises, or is it SMBs, or in terms of the size of the organization they're going out, and which geography, what type of industry, and all of, so getting that thing right when there are more unknowns than knowns, it will take a little bit of experimentation, and then made quite a few mistakes in the beginning around that. got excited about when one or two large enterprises signed us up because I met them at an event. They really liked me, and hey, this guy is building something cool. So then but winning those large customers in very early days was perhaps not the right thing because it derails your product roadmap. You start building things only for that one or two customer, and we did that mistake, and almost costed us almost a year in terms of like doing something that which we perhaps looking back at it I wouldn't have done, right?
Mm.
Um, uh, Building for the market rather than building for one or two customers in a way, right? That you it's a trade-off that one has to make. So I think I made that mistake. Um, uh, the uh, the other mistake that the of course a lot of plenty of mistakes that you make on the product architecture, the technical the side of it. Other mistake that I had made was I think we went out to build all the features from day one, right? And
Mm.
we need to pick that hero feature. So and then what I did was after 2 3 years of building this, I actually broke these things into smaller pieces and we sell those as smaller products, right? Whereas it should have been actually the other way around, right? So you build one piece, go to market, listen to customers, start selling that, and then keep adding more, rather than trying to build that monolithic thing. Especially a lot of technical founders are scared of hitting the market. They keep
Mm.
on to they keep wanting to do coding, right? I mean, no, I'll add this one. No, this is not. Let me just add this one piece. No, go to market. Let the customers tell you.
Yeah. Like they're saying
Uh,
it, perfection is the enemy of progression. You
oh
can't
yeah,
progress if you're just trying to perfect everything all the time. You just
right,
got to get it out there, do iterations, start small,
yeah,
see what they're saying. Because you could literally throw 10 things out there and 8 of
right.
them fall flat and you know not to
True,
spend any more time on those things.
true. I mean, so I had this formula where I keep telling even today my product guys, and in fact everybody. So in business, unless you are building a satellite or an aeroplane which can't fail, um, uh, uh, so it usually costs around X. Let's say it costs X effort, money to build 80% of what you think you're building, and it usually costs 3X to get to 99%. And you know what? It costs 9X to get to 99.9%. And more often than not, that additional 3X effort is never gives you an ROI because uh, the last 19% after the first 80%, you don't even know what that 19% is,
Mm.
but you end up spending 3x the effort. So it's all right.
Interesting.
With the X 80%, go, right?
Mm.
Launch it and then see what. Then you learn what is the other 19%,
Yes. Yeah. It's
right?
like waiting for all the lights to be green before you go. You
Yeah,
can't wait for every single green light to be there. Sometimes you're going to hit a red light,
yeah,
but you've got to go.
yeah,
Otherwise, you'll never go. You
right.
never ever start.
Yeah.
And that's
But
important.
having said that, I've made that mistake.
Haven't we all? Yeah.
But
So, what
anyway,
are the goals? I mean, you've had some tremendous success so far. And obviously we've been talking before, and it's been a great year end, and we're looking forward now into the future. What is your vision for this year and beyond? What are your goals?
yeah. So, so for me this year, I think extending. So as I told you, we went back, focused on one platform, one set of market. Now I think we are ready. In terms of we will be opening up more platforms, especially Microsoft Dynamics and then Zoho and then HubSpot. For example, we got the connectors ready for those platforms this year. We built them last year, we've launched them this year, and then I think we'll be going. So we'll be spreading our target market a little bit more this year. And I will also experiment this year with the other geographies too. I'm seeing a lot of quite a bit of tech spending around West Asia as well as in Australia and New Zealand, which we haven't done so far. We mostly focused on Europe and US. But I think I'll be experimenting with a couple of the markets. And this year, of course, is about AI. We try to learn, we try to figure out what it really is, what can it mean to my users and then my customers. Not that we have all the answers yet, but we need to keep experimenting. We started those experiments around 6, 7 months ago. To me, AI is not just like an innovation like internet. It's more like an innovation like electricity, right? So if you look at when electricity was invented, two things happened, right? One is we were able to do whatever we were already doing better, right? So we could light better, for example, right? Uh, uh, but imagination on electricity could lead to so many things, right? It actually changed the way we lived. It changed, I mean, it made, because somebody conceptualized an elevator, because the electricity got invented. Now people said, oh, I can have tall buildings, right? So it changed the way we looked at a lot of things. So somebody said, look, I can heat, I can cool an apartment. So it changed. That's the kind of, so it's an imagination game now. The base thing is here. Okay, now something like electricity. So somebody imagined a mixer grinder because electricity was invented. Somebody imagined an elevator. Somebody imagined air conditioner, and so on and so forth, right? Which if the dots don't connect directly, it's a function of imagination in terms of what's happening, and that's how I look at AI today, right? It will be a disservice if I just look at it as an incremental stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
But
fascinating outlook on it, really. It really is. I've spoken to a lot of people in tech. I've been around a long time, and that is probably one of the most interesting analogies of what AI is, and and where it can take people. And I love that it sparks the imagination. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
yeah, we will do incremental stuff obviously now, but long-term businesses around AI are built those who are going to imagine something that can change a whole lot of stuff. I think it'll be interesting. Yeah.
Interesting times. Fascinating, interesting times.
Yeah.
Well, that being said, I've got one last question for you, Milind. It's been absolutely fantastic talking to you. So I've got one last question for you, and that you've had some great successes, like you said, and I'll choose your words, and I've had some battle scars as well that have healed and whatnot. What is the one piece of advice you would give to founders today in the tech field, whether that when it comes to growing their business? Because and I know there's a lot of great techies out there who unfortunately are the best kept secrets because they're just not getting themselves out there. What is the one piece of advice from your history that you could share with somebody?
Sure. I think one piece, especially in today's world, I think one piece of advice that is around listening very carefully in terms of the problem that you're trying to solve, and then how are customers responding to a problem that you're solving, right? And what is more important is listening between the lines. Oftentimes when we try and do a customer survey or something like that, right? When we try to do that MVP, or when we try to validate the idea as a founder that you have, I would like to put that into 3 levels. Interchanging them a lot of times has caused problems for me, and I've seen problems for others as well. One is the concept or idea itself, right? It's a conceptual research that we're trying to do. I mean, in terms of a very abstract level, trying to say, is this a problem in the first place? And if yes, will somebody pay me to solve this, right? Now, when we're trying to validate the concept or an idea itself, the way I interview my users is very open-ended question, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, in my key account management is a software. I believe that a key account management is a great idea and one should build a product for it, right? If I go and ask my customers, hey, if I build do you think that I should build a key account management software? It's a yes or no answer. It can't be a closed-ended research, right? So it has to be a very open-ended conversations around this, and then looking for insights between those lines. And then, so that's at a concept level, right? Now that you've built something already, right? Okay, you got that, you got convinced that okay, I need to build this, and now I need to figure out, is it easy? Are people finding it easy to use this, which is kind of a usability research or a user research that I'm doing of how easy it is. That's a very close-ended research, and this is a very open-ended research,
Mm-mm.
right?
Yeah.
So, so in all our conversations, sometimes we get misdirected based on our early customer conversation if we misplace these two things. What is my close-ended stuff? Because I'm trying to validate something that I've already built, which is real, and I am trying to find out, okay, is this, then I'll say, okay, like, how do you like this? All 10 questions are close-ended questions with
Mm.
multiple options or with yes or no kind of a thing, because, right? Whereas if on the other side of the spectrum, if you're trying to validate the idea itself, it's far more abstract. And if you misplace this, we go with the wrong insight.
Mm.
Am
Mm.
I making
Absolutely.
sense? I don't know. I mean, so
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah, it makes
yeah,
sense at all.
yeah,
I think it's a great piece of, and I think especially in tech where things tend to be very binary, it's either black or it's white, it's either this or it's that, and having these open-ended questions and learning how to do open-ended questions as
yeah,
opposed to, do you like this? Do you not like this? What is it you like? What is it? Just have much better
yeah.
skill
Right,
at opening any questions and the
right,
feedback you get. But
correct.
again, like you said, don't take a black and white answer. What is the grey answer? What is the thing that they're
Yeah,
not saying that's in the
right,
middle? And that's when you learn really quick. And I think that's a
right,
fantastic piece of advice.
right.
Really
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then based on that, you keep building. It's an iterative process. I mean, don't keep building. I mean, for too long. Go out there,
Yeah.
ask. I mean, it's okay. You get vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's I think, and to wrap what we just did up today, it's really you got to ask, iterate, take it to market, learn, back,
Yeah,
iterate, take it to market, as
right.
opposed to ask, build, and never take it to the marketplace.
Yeah,
You just got to get it out there. Well,
yeah.
Milind, it's been an absolute honor. Thank you very much for joining
My
us
pleasure.
today. I will make sure if people want to get hold of you, I'll make sure that your details are in the show notes
Sure.
below because you got you've just been so open, and I'm really appreciative of your time and you sharing your time with us today.
Thank you so much, Gary. It was awesome talking to you. It was really, really nice talking to you. And then I think it's also a beginning of a good friendship, I'm sure. And then we'll keep meeting as
I'm
we go. Thank you so much.
sure it is.
Thank you
No, it's
so much
absolute
for
pleasure. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us as well. And if you've taken any piece of advice, and there's so much for you to take today, if you get anything from today, make sure you make a comment, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. But more importantly, remember what this channel was about. It's about sharing it,
yeah.
helping others within the industry grow as well. So until next time, enjoy it, be safe, keep growing, and we shall see you on the next episode. Goodbye.
Thank you.